welcome back to another episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we are stepping into a conversation that's close to the heart of every high performing human. They're trying to do it all, like build a business, nurture a marriage, raise kids, and still find some room to breathe. Yeah. So if you have ever found yourself asking, like, can I grow my business and still be present as dinner? Or is it possible to live with gratitude when life feels like a juggling act? Then this episode is for you, because today's guest lives at that intersection of hustle and heart. Yeah, so please meet Daniel Cheetham. So welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, before we start delving deep into this conversation, I'll quickly love to introduce you with Daniel. So, dear listeners, Daniel is the founder of Captain's Club, a boutique executive search firm that places trustworthy, second in command leaders in gritty, founder led businesses. And he's also known for pairing strategy with the soul, head with heart. But beyond the business or the business brilliance, he is also a husband, a dad to two young boys, and someone who wakes up every day with one intention: to live meaningfully. Yeah. So, we are not here to talk about the massive hacks or kind of morning routines that require 3 hours of solitude, but we are here to talk about that small, repeatable habits that anchor us in our families, in our work, and in ourselves. So, why to wait? Let's dive in. Welcome to the show again.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this topic. It's near and dear to my heart for sure. So
Yeah, exactly. Lovely. So, you work at that high level, like guiding founders through leadership transitions. But what grounds you? I mean, what small habits help you stay rooted in like fulfillment amidst the chaos of business, marriage, parenting? Like, if you can share.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lot. So real quick, yeah, I do. I feel incredibly blessed to be working with founders of companies that have scaled these businesses and are now looking for what you're talking about, to figure out how do they create a little bit more surface area so they can be more present, so they can focus maybe on the business or on their families without just the day-to-day grind and hustle of it. And so I get to talk to people that are incredibly fulfilled. I get to talk to people who are incredibly desperate. I get to talk to people across the gamut, 5, 10, 20 years ahead of me and my journey. So I've been able to kind of gain some perspective on what works and what to focus on early on, and maybe what you can let go of in order to be a little bit more fulfilled and purposeful. So from the habits perspective, I think it comes with a view of your future self, and keeping that, front and foremost. So just the little things I always, try and ask myself, what can I do today that the person who I'm going to be in a year from now or 10 years from now would be thankful for that I did. And that guides a lot of the decisions that I make. So there's a couple different things that I can hit on here where my relationship with my wife and how we meet every month to have breakfast and really just sit down and go through our plans, our budget, our family, our relationships, all those sorts of things, my daily habits. Not sure what do you think would be the most valuable for me to dive into first?
Mm. So, I mean, if you can share, I mean, in general, basically, because um, what to say, if you can also share in a particular moment, like maybe in the parenthood or marriage, when you
Sure.
realize these habits, these little habits maybe uh mattered more than the grand gestures.
Yeah, absolutely. So the little things, I'll just kind of run through my day. So my goal is to, and this is a lofty goal, is 8 hours, 8 hours of sleep, uh, 8 hours of work, 5 hours of family time. And so as I kind of go through life, and then 3 hours on health. If you want to break it down like that. And I know that sounds crazy, and it doesn't happen every day. But as I go through
Mhm.
my week and I look back and I try and just balance time and figure out where that sits. Some of the smallest habits are the most meaningful. When I come through the front door, uh, I pick my son up from daycare. Um,
Hmm.
and as we're driving home, we talk about a lot of things. I mean, he's 3, so he doesn't have a ton to talk about, but we try and laugh a little bit. And then when I get home, my phone goes in a bowl next to the front door on do not disturb, and it stays there from about 5 o'clock until 7:30 after the kids go down. And I've communicated that with my clients, with my colleagues, with everyone, and they know that that time is very sacred for me. So that's as easy as just putting it away, and it makes it easy to put away, when I've told everyone, that I'm
Yeah.
committed to this. Another small habit I have is, not to say that I'm busy or I can't, but I've committed that time, or I'm committed this afternoon, and it helps because other people don't wanna break your commitments, versus if I'm busy or, "Oh, man, can you really hop on this call?" Or, "Maybe we could talk about this." But if I say my afternoon is committed, I've made a commitment to myself or to my family, and people don't want to break that. So it's just a small habit of using words differently that really impact the external pressures you feel.
Okay. Got it. Got it. So, yeah, I mean that, and that's actually hits it, because the idea that who you are at home matters just as like um, as much as like who you are at work, maybe even more. So
Yeah,
that's the great part of it. Yeah.
yeah, that's
And
that's a big. Oh, go ahead.
no, no, please, please, you continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really important, what you just hit on. And so
Yeah.
habits, going in through a transition right now of, I think a lot of people focus on like 30-day challenges, right? Or sort of like, oh, I'm going to do this for the next 30 days and see how I feel, or I'm going to drink a gallon of water or do these things. And I used to do that a lot. I've done 75 hard a couple times. I, I've been in that roller coaster before. And what I've really been focusing on maybe for the last, um, 6 months or so, and actually how I found your podcast, and just really focusing on my identity,
Mm.
right? And so when you focus on your identity, habits will start to fall into place versus the roller coaster of like, I'm on the, I fell off the bandwagon this month. Okay, I'm gonna get back on it and then fall off. And it's just like everyday little consistent check-ins.
Mm.
One of the biggest things is I work with sort of a habit coach. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's just a quick reflection. Hey, did I spend 15 minutes on strategic actions for my business? Did I pack my lunch today? Right. So I don't take 35 minutes or an hour to go spend $10 on lunch when I could have just brought it. It's healthier food. Did I get 9,000 steps? I wear my, step tracker, my Fitbit. And so those sorts of things. So even if you don't do it, just a end of day reflection that takes 5 minutes really keeps those things top of mind for me, versus just being, "Oh, I'm off the bandwagon this week." Like, that doesn't help. So it's the small daily habits like you were talking about.
Yeah. Understood. No, that's very, very important, I have to say. Yep. And like I was just saying this, like many entrepreneurs struggle with the kind of tension between the drive and the presence. So how do you personally balance, I mean, being all as a founder, and also like being fully present as a dad and the partner? So I believe it's really a huge job, I would say.
Yeah.
Mm.
If I figured that out, man, I think I'd be a millionaire and I could sell a course on it. But um, I think that's the ultimate battle, right? If you're one of those people who's crazy enough to take the risk of starting their own business, um, and all the pressure that goes along with that, like if you think you're going to start your own business because you'll have more control over your time and um, you'll make more money and all these sorts of things. Sure, maybe, but it's because those things are gonna happen because of who you are. There's being a present dad, to me,
Right.
follows my number one priority is to be a great husband, followed very quickly by being a great father. And so for me, my relationship with my wife, managing expectations, communication there, what is the future life we're trying to create? And then what sacrifices am I going to have to
Mm.
make, and she and us together, in order to accomplish that? There is a season of our life where it's like, I have to be home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And my world is executive search, where a lot of conversations happen before hours, over lunch, or after dinner, right? Like that's just when executives are available to talk about a new opportunity or things like that. So really trying to balance like, hey, I had big ideas of growing my business, we'll say double it every year. I've been very successful, but not that level. And it's forced me to be successful in other ways. And so the season of life I'm in right now is like, hey, I don't need to take that call at 5:30 p.m. when we're having dinner, right? I just don't, because my wife and I have talked about, how much we spend, how much we make, what are the next 3 years going to look like for us. And in this season of life with a 3-year old and an 8-month old, um, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. So again, it goes back to identity, and who you want to show up. So uh, the other thing that I've talked to my clients and my candidates about my journey, and I'm very open and transparent with them about that, saying, hey, at this point in my life, I only want to take on 4 clients at a time, for the reason that I really want to be present for my children after work and at dinner. So I hope you're okay with that. And if they're not, that's okay, but if they are, and all of them have been, that's really instrumental, so that I have the permission, quote unquote, from myself and from my clients to show up fully for my kids and for my wife. So those are some of the things that I think help balance it. Um, there's a poem, and this is maybe a non sequitur. It's called "If" by Rudyard Kipling, and I've read it so many times that I have it memorized. It's like it would probably take 3 minutes to say it, but it talks about it's called "If," and it's some of the qualities of what I consider, whether it's being a good man, a good father, a good husband, but just being a good person. And I read that to both my boys every night, and with that ingrained in me, I think if I embody those qualities, then I think I'll be a good father, a good husband, and I hope they will. And maybe I'm just trying to brainwash them early on so that they can do that. But that's a big piece for me too. Is what do I communicate to my boys, and how do I live that every day?
Wow. So you just said about Rudyard Kipling, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the British author. Wow.
yeah, yeah. It's called
Yeah.
"If." So it's like, if you can keep your head about you and all, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances and they're doubting too. So it kind of goes like that, and it's an amazing
Mm.
poem. If your listeners, I think, should pick it up.
Yeah, we also I remember when we are in I first read his books like when I was in sixth standard. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sixth standard. Yeah, it's because he's from India. I mean, he born in India, but then he went to London,
Hmm.
and then this started. So I mean, yes, it's there are a lot of things from his.
Yeah, but he wrote The Jungle Book. We'll remember
Yeah,
this, but like,
yeah.
which is a great book if you've actually read the book. But
You-
yes, a very insightful, pragmatic,
Mhm.
philosophical writer across the board. So yeah,
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of this Jungle Book, if like you mentioned. So yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of things to learn from, and
he also
also,
fun fact, also he wrote a book called Captain Courageous, and that's part of why I named it Captain's Club, my
oh,
company. So yeah.
oh, that's quite interesting. Yes, Captain's Club. Yeah, wow, lovely, amazing, amazing. And like so when we're talking about this, if I have to ask, uh, like what boundaries or maybe the rituals I would say
Yeah.
actually help you to um, recalibrate when you feel yourself kind of uh, drifting too far in either direction. So what do you have to say?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think, as far as what rituals, habits,
Mhm.
help you recalibrate when you think you've drifted off. I think first you need to know when, like, you have to have the self-awareness, which is really tough. Because by the time you sort of realize it personally, I think it can almost be too late. Um, and so having signals or people you trust that you can check in with on a weekly basis. And so, like, with my wife is a great signal for me. Again, I have a habit coach, Nanad, and he's very good at, like, hey, what about this? We said this last week. Are you still feeling like that? And so for me, it's creating people around you that, you know can hold up a mirror every once in a while, because if not, man, I go 100% into things
Mm.
super hard, and then by the time I like pick my head up and look around, it's like, oh, oh shoot, no one's around me. What's going on? Like, where am I? So I can get lost in the hustle, or even indexing on family stuff. Like our kids were super sick. I wouldn't say super sick, but like ear infections, no sleep, that sort of stuff for 3 months. And I think I almost gravitated too far away from work, and keeping up the momentum there. And so, with those sorts of things, I think you have to have a champion in your corner on the personal life, on the professional life, you just as a person in your development that can be a signal for you, to do that. And then so I don't circumvent your question, like what can you do,
Yeah.
in order to get back on track? It's little things. You're not going to make a big change overnight.
Mm.
So say if I index too hard on work, um,
Mm.
for a couple weeks or whatever, um, how do I get back? I think it's honestly, so I'm a big sort of ceremony type person, and what I mean by
Okay.
that is, uh,
Uh,
if I feel this way, it's like, hey, one, admitting it, to my wife, saying, hey, here's how I'm feeling about this. What I'd like to do is, maybe we go get ice cream that night with the boys, or have a special little occasion, so to speak, and then recommit, um, to my wife on like, hey, this is what the next 3 weeks are going to look like. Um, but you have to consciously choose to, put both feet on one side of the line for a little bit of time to kinda get back. So,
mm.
I think it's different in every case, but for me, it's the most important thing is catching it early and making sure you have some signals out there that could be like, "Hey, what's going on here?" "We need you over here." So, that's a really important thing.
That's amazing. Lovely. And uh, for someone who is listening right now, maybe they are burnout or maybe spread thin, feeling like they're falling at home and at work. So, what's the one small habit and shift you would recommend them to start with?
Um, One small habit I would say, uh, is gonna sound funny, but, like Ryan Holiday's The Daily Stoic, start reading that with someone that you care about. So, my mom was going through a specifically hard time. This is probably about 4 years ago, and I sent her the book bought it on Amazon, sent it to her house, The Daily Stoic, and every day it's just sort of a Stoic philosophy quote, whether it's Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius or someone like that, and then it has like a little, description on application to everyday life. And for me, I don't. If you're feeling burnt out, I don't think quitting your job is going to do it. I don't think, um, getting away from friends and family is going to do it. I think the change
Mm.
comes within yourself, and so a small habit of awareness, of discipline, is going to be really important. The other thing is I would look at make sure you're taking care of yourself. A 45-minute walk can help a lot of things. So if you just
Mm.
even if you pop in a podcast, maybe this one, and go for a 45-minute walk every day for a week, you will feel better and things will start falling into place. There's actually a lot of science around, what's called lateral eye movement. So as you're walking, your eyes scan the horizon versus staring at a phone or a point, and that actually makes you feel reassured and energized. So, I would say going for a walk, man. Reading the Daily Stoic and going for a 45-minute walk is a good start. Is a good start.
Wow. And so like and what would you say to the version of yourself just starting this balancing act? Maybe with your first kid or
Oh man,
your first company and
yeah.
zero sleep. Yeah.
What would I say to my future self going back? Uh,
Mm.
so we talked a little bit about, just about books and stuff, and so one of the very formative reads, that I read when I was in, I think, almost high school or starting college, was like Ralph Waldo Emerson's Self-Reliance. It's a short essay, but it's there's a lot of quotes people recite daily, but that's where they come from. And so I was very independent and sort of stoic in that, right? Like it's on me, self-reliance. I can rely on myself. I can do all these things. Um, and I don't think that's necessary. I think, in some things. And it for that, it's more of like trust thyself. Every heart beats to that iron string kind of mentality. But you got to get people around you that know who your future self is going to be. So when you get a spouse, they believe in who this journey you're going to go on together. Communicating it with like a group of entrepreneurs or other people starting their business of here's how I want this to show up in the world. Here's why we're doing this. So I would say early on, share the vision of your future self, or maybe work on that vision as much as you can, so that you can start to actualize it. Write it down, just like you write down goals. Write down your future self. What do you want life to be like in 10 years, in 5 years, in 1 year? What's an ideal day for you? Those are the things that I would spend more time getting started on versus like, oh, I need to get all these skills and try and start a business. It's like maybe so, but I don't know looking back if I could have been this piece of had this peaceful of a mind, um, feel a couple years earlier if I think I would have started with that being the goal. So um, those are some of the things that I would hit on. Naval Ravikant, has his podcast and books and things like that. But what he says is, a healthy body, a calm mind, and a house full of love. These things cannot be bought; they must be earned. And that really shook me, probably about a year and a half ago. And so, if I had learned that a little bit earlier on and focused on those three pillars, I think life would still be pretty good, but maybe a little bit earlier on in my journey.
Great. So that's really, really lovely. And with this hope, Daniel, I mean, thank you so much for being on our show and reminding us that fulfillment isn't found in the big wins, but it's actually built in small moments. So, I mean, that's amazing. And yeah, and the listeners, like, if you are building a business, a family, or future, and wondering, like, if you can do it without losing yourself, the answer is yes. But it starts with rhythm, not perfection. So with gratitude, not guilt. Yeah, that's amazing. So if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the best medium to connect?
Yeah. I would probably say on LinkedIn. So my name is Daniel Cheetham. Company is called Captain's Club. Might be in the show notes here. Or captainsclub.com is my company's website.
Amazing, amazing, great. So, dear listeners, I'll put all the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, this is your host Avik signing off from Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. Stay steady, stay soft, where it matters, and never underestimate the power of a little habit done with love. So, thank you so much.